Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes Tottenham blog and to another Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk live stream. Today we're going to be reviewing the news that we heard this morning with regards to a new bid about to go in for Milan Skriniar. Tottenham have been offered Arkadiusz Milik yet again. We are apparently very, very close to signing a striker. We're going to be discussing a couple of players that could be with Arkadiusz Milik and Andrea Belotti right at the top of the rumour mill. We're also going to be talking about a bit of a new update with regards to Ryan Sessegnon and a team that have come in for him, and also some more potential departures this window with Dele Alli and Juan Foyth as well, both very, very high up in the potential players that could be leaving. I see Tom there saying there's a bit of an echo coming through here. I'll try to sort that out very quickly before we get started. Let me switch my headphones, that could be the problem. Just 1 second. Hopefully that is better. Just tell me if it's not, and I'll try to sort it out again. But yeah, as I was saying, we're going to be talking a lot about that. Welcome Alexander Hilton along to the stream, Justin Martin, Tom, Silver Surfer, Michael Smith, Delboy, Lost Galaxy, Saracen Knight, NFL Clan, 15J Fuller, Marco Tejera as well. Welcome all along to the stream. And yeah, look, as I said, quite a bit to get through today. Michael say, Matt, you already mentioned these deals earlier. Nothing has changed. Thank you, Suvik Gosh, there for subscribing. Michael, there is a lot of things have changed. We've heard from Fabrizio Romano with his podcast an update on our pursuit of Milan Skriniar. There's a bit more with regards to how we can predict what striker we may potentially bring in. There's an update on the potential departure of Ryan Sessegnon, as I was saying. So there is a few new bits to get through in this stream. So if you want to stick around for that, but if you feel as though there's nothing new to talk about, I can't make you stay here. So look, as I was saying, Fabrizio Romano with an update on Milan Skriniar. We'll have a quick look at this tweet that he posted rather recently, this was last night, apologies. He said Tottenham are still in talks with Inter for Skriniar. Complicated deal, but still on. Inter want €60 million add-ons included. Final decision will be made soon. Skriniar is the number one target. Rudiger is one of the plan Bs. Kane back up. Arkadiusz Milik offered to Spurs again. So as we're saying there, a potential new bid coming in for Milan Skriniar. That came on Fabrizio Romano's podcast a couple of hours ago. He said that Tottenham they were about to table a £45 million bid, which it still falls a bit short of that valuation Inter Milan have put on Milan Skriniar's head, but it's a lot closer to agreeing a deal there, and it's more encouraging than what we heard from Sky Sports News last night. They were saying that this deal has now been thrown into serious doubt, and Antonio Rudiger was our number one option. And we were trying to get a loan deal over the line there. And I think from the start, personally, I was a bit sceptical about that because, as I was saying, Sky Sports haven't been very punctual with their stories this summer. They've been a bit behind a lot, and they haven't been entirely accurate. So I think we had to take that with a pinch of salt, the story that they came out with. And I said it might have been a bit of a ruse by the Tottenham PR team to put that story out there and try and force Inter Milan's hand in this move. Because as Antonio Conte was saying at the weekend, due to different financial reasons, Inter Milan may actually be forced into selling Milan Skriniar, which isn't something they want to do at this stage, but they may have to do that. And now Tottenham could be going back in with a new bid of about £45 million. Milan Skriniar is actually tonight starting for Inter Milan. They're playing against Benevento in this area, so he is back in that starting team after sitting on the bench for their victory over Fiorentina at the weekend. With regards to a replacement from Inter Milan's point of view, as I said in my video earlier today, they had identified Nikola Milenkovic from Fiorentina as a replacement for Skriniar, having already sold Diego Godin to Cagliari this summer. Nikola Milenkovic now has apparently been offered to West Ham, and that's according to Gianluca Di Marzio. So with Inter Milan and their replacement, they may be there's been a bit of a setback for them, but I'm not sure what that means for how much they'd be willing to sell Milan Skriniar. We'll have to wait and see where that one goes. Not much really coming out of anywhere that isn't Fabrizio Romano today, to be honest. It's just been that update from him, and as I said, on his podcast as well. I'm keeping an eye on Twitter here, and of course Sky Sports the whole way through, to see if we can get any breaking news updates in the next hour or so. But as I was saying, there is news of a potential departure from Tottenham this window, and it's a player that we know had been made available for loan. Before I get into that, just taking a few comments here. David Moyes, hello from the Stratford Quarantine Centre. Michael Smith saying Josh King is cheaper, but Milik is what we need. He's technical and dynamic. I agree. Luke Schrademan, welcome along to the stream. Bradley Coombs saying, Matt, do you think bringing in Bale has made a striker search not as important now and should put all effort in signing a central defender? I really don't think so. I think striker is still number one priority for us, and I think it was made clearer than ever last night with Jose Mourinho and his comments both before and after the game against Chelsea. He was asked who would be playing up front, and he said nobody. We don't have a striker. There was no one up there who we didn't have anyone on that pitch who could play number 9. Of course, Harry Kane came on for the last 20 minutes, and he gave us obviously a different dynamic on the pitch and eventually got us back into the game. So I think a striker is more important than ever. And now I suppose before we get into Ryan Sessegnon, to follow on from this question, Jose Mourinho talking, I think it was either today or yesterday, about our pursuit of a striker, and he said, it says here, Tottenham head coach Jose Mourinho believes the club will sign a new striker before the summer transfer window shuts on Monday. Harry Kane is the only recognised centre forward in Spurs' first team squad this season, with deputies Heung-min Son and Gareth Bale currently unavailable. We know Son is going to be back a lot earlier than expected. As we heard from Mourinho, he could actually feature against Man United on Sunday. Tottenham have been linked with moves for Bournemouth's Josh King, Napoli's Arkadiusz Milik and Torino's Andrea Bellotti, but Mourinho was confident the club will secure a natural backup striker to Kane before Monday's 11 p.m. deadline. Mourinho said, I am optimistic, but more than that, the feeling that I like is that we are trying everything to do it. You succeed or you don't succeed. It's like a football match. You win or you don't win, but you give everything and try everything. The transfer market is the same. I like the feeling that my club is trying to do everything for us and for the team. That's the most important thing for me. If we succeed, then great, I believe so. But if we don't, then that's football. Also talking about Dele Alli there, which we'll get onto a little bit later. But Jose Mourinho is still fairly convinced that we are going to see a striker come in towards the end, or before the end of the window. And we heard from Alistair Gold today that according to him and his sources, Tottenham are set to sign a striker before transfer deadline day. So it'll be, I assume, before the weekend is out. If their sources are correct, and the two names that have been thrown about, I think earlier this morning, I was fairly convinced that it would be Arkadiusz Milik that would be the striker coming in, and that was due to the update from Fabrizio Romano last night that we have actually been offered Arkadiusz Milik again. This graphic a little outdated. The asking price at the moment is down at about €25 million. Napoli had agreed with Roma a deal with Roma to sell him last week for 25 million before the player himself pulled out. So I assume they'll be looking for something very close to that if he is to go to Tottenham before the end of this window. And the fact that they are offering him around, they've offered him to Tottenham twice now in the last week, that would suggest they are a bit desperate, so he may even get another couple of million off that fee, and I'm sure that's what Danny Levy is trying to do. So as I was speaking about a while ago, I do think this is the number one target we have now, and this could potentially be the striker that we're seeing brought in before the end of the window. However, there is another name that is just starting to crop back up a little bit right now, and it is Andrea Bellotti of Torino. Torino have entered negotiations with Bournemouth over the transfer of Josh King, who's of course a striker, as Sky Sports saying there, a player that we were actually interested in and we have had as a target. But the fact now that Torino are out looking for another striker, we know they weren't willing to let Bellotti go earlier in the summer to Tottenham because they wanted a permanent deal. Tottenham wanted a loan with an option or obligation to buy next summer because they needed a replacement. And the fact now that they are targeting a replacement in Josh King, that could potentially open the door for Andrea Bellotti to leave the club. So between the two of them, I think we have two fantastic striker options. Both would be absolutely brilliant to bring into the club. Personally, I would lean a bit more towards Bellotti in terms of who I want, but in terms of which one is more realistic, I do think Arkadiusz Milik should be, or that he is more realistic to bring in. Luciana saying, "Well, Matt, I have to respect your dedication. Keep it up." Tom Doxing, Milan and Milik and Skriniar or Benteke and Rudiger. I know which combo I'd want. And look, as always, there's a few names being thrown around that we wouldn't exactly like to see come into the club, and Benteke is one of them. Troy Deeney as a striker as well. We've had Antonio Rudiger in the last couple of days, but thankfully it looks as though those won't come to fruition at all, and even if they are going to, it'll be last resort options. We're trying so hard to get in these initial targets or first choices, and I think we could be very successful in getting those in this summer because we have that extra pull factor with Jose Mourinho at the club and the players that we've already brought in this window. That's going to really help us, I think. In our saying, Matt Hayes, any news about Skriniar? And as I was saying, we're waiting for Tottenham to table a new bid, believed to be in the region of about £45 million. It's still a small bit away from Inter Milan's valuation, but they could be forced into selling the player this summer. So there's definitely scope for negotiation there, and I think it is one that could get over the line, but we'll have to wait and see if and when Tottenham table that bid. Will is saying, I just lost the comment there. Will saying, I would hold out for other clubs to make moves. Bellotti or someone of that quality could become available. In another saying, he'd pick Josh King and Kim Min Jae. Steve saying 40 million euros plus add-ons for Skriniar, and I've heard Milik by Monday at the latest. I think it's going to be a bit more than that for Skriniar. I think from what Fabrizio Romano said earlier today, if I can just find a tweet again, I do think it is £45 million, and that's either with add-ons or add-ons on top of that. I think it is a bit more than the €40 million mark. We're approaching €50 million with our bid, which is only about 10 million off what Inter Milan apparently want for him. So we'll have to wait and see where that one goes. Will saying Torino looking for strikers. Could be Bellotti is available. He's in the last 2 years of his contract, as I said. They're looking for Josh King at the moment. Who is Kim Min Jae? I've never heard of him. Kim Min Jae is a South Korean centre back who currently plays with Beijing Guan. He came out very early in the transfer window. It was our first centre back target, I suppose, but things quickly died down there, and it looks as though we are going for bigger and better options at the moment. Miss Bolt asking, do we get money for the qualifying rounds of the Europa League? And yes, we do, and this could be a massive part of our pursuit of Milan Skriniar in particular. I think Tottenham, of course, as we said, are preparing to table this bid, and that could rely heavily on the game tomorrow night. If we beat Maccabi Haifa and qualify for the Europa League group stages, we will get £15 million prize money, which could just bridge that gap towards Inter Milan's valuation of Milan Skriniar. So if this first offer is rejected, I think that €50 million could go a long way towards getting that deal over the line. Of course, first and foremost, we have to beat Maccabi Haifa tomorrow. With the hectic fixture calendar, it's not going to be easy. We're going to see rotation as usual, but very likely that we will get that €15 million tomorrow night, and we'll be a step closer to getting that Milan Skriniar deal done. And before I get on any further, if you are new to the channel and you are enjoying this live stream and you want more lives like this, plus videos of the same sort and general Tottenham analysis videos, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We had our target of 3,000 subscribers for this transfer window, which, as you can see up at the top there, we absolutely smashed. We're looking to get 3,500 before the end of the window now, and we're well on our way there. And as you can see, we're getting giveaways, collaborations, and charity streams coming up on this channel in the next 5 or 6 days, with just over 5 days left in this window. And this is one of the few things we're going to be giving away, if I can get it in the picture there. It's the match programme from the game against Newcastle on Sunday. Of course, the first one with Gareth Bale back on it. We've got 3 of those to be given away next Monday on my live stream for deadline day. We'll have much more news on that in the next couple of days, but this is one of the few things I will be giving away, so make sure to smash that subscribe button if you do want more of that. Michael saying, do you see us selling all of Carter Vickers, Rose, Gazaniga and Foyth before the window closes? Jake Roth, thank you very much for subscribing, and Jake is someone who will be on the stream on Monday. I think we will definitely see some departures. Carter Vickers, I think personally I'm surprised he's still at the club. Danny Rose as well. I've almost forgotten about him in the last week or so, because we were getting so close to seeing a departure from him, and it seems to have just died down quite a bit. I think personally he is trying to hold out for a bigger move, which just isn't going to happen with the way he's been playing recently. As for Gazaniga, he's actually been taken out of our Europa League squad for tomorrow night, replaced by, it might actually be Sergio Reguilon, but it's concerning for him that he has been taken out of that squad, and of course hasn't featured yet. It's been either Lloris and Hart on the bench, or vice versa. Foyth, Fulham, the ladies team, interested in him, and Villarreal actually also potentially looking to sign him as well, so I think we might see some movement for him before the end of the window. Similar question, Sessegnon, Foyth, Gazaniga and Dele all leaving the club. Well, as for Ryan Sessegnon, we got an update from Sky Sports today, and they say Celtic have made an approach for Tottenham left-back Ryan Sessegnon, but it is believed the finances of any potential deal have proved problematic. The 20-year-old was highly rated as a teenager at Fulham, but has struggled to break into the Tottenham side since making the move from Craven Cottage for £25 million last summer. Sessegnon managed only 12 appearances in all competitions last term, and has since been pushed further down the pecking order following the arrival of Sergio Reguilon from Real Madrid. A number of Premier League clubs are also monitoring the under-21 international situation. We heard, I think it was late last week, that Tottenham are looking to loan him out, and it probably won't be a season at Spurs ahead for him. Tom asking, would you do a direct swap Skriniar for Ali, no cash? Personally, I wouldn't. Personally, I do want to see Dele Alli stay at the club, and I think from what we've heard from Mourinho in the last couple of days in terms of Dele Alli's professionalism and the respect they have between them, and the fact that he is training so hard, and he almost said straight out, we do expect him to stay. I don't think we will see a Dele Alli departure. So I personally wouldn't do that deal. I love Dele Alli, and I know a lot of that is sentimental rather than actually logical and taking into consideration what he actually adds to the team. But I do feel as though he will stay at the club, and I'm happy with that. Bradley asking, Matt, what would be worse, missing out on a striker or missing out on a defender, in your opinion? And as I've been saying, I think missing out on a striker would be worse because we're talking about trying to strengthen this first team and trying to add backup as well. And I think our first team is very, very solid until we get one injury. If we'd have to, if we're comparing getting one striker injury or getting one defensive injury, if it's a striker one, of course that's Harry Kane, and there's no one there that can play there, and that's deeply concerning for us. If we get a centre back injury, there are players who can step in there. You know, we can change our system in that we can play, say a three at the back, and Davis can sit in there. Or we have Alderweireld, Dyer, Tanganga, and of course Davis can play there as well. And there's just more options in centre back if we do miss out on a centre back signing. So I think a striker is more important. And Richard Blackdown with a £10 super chat saying, "Cheers, Matt. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much, Richard. I do really, really appreciate that. Steve saying, "Great result last night, by the way, Matt. Good to put Fat Boy in his place." And it was very, very nice to put Frank Lampard and Chelsea back in their box. He had a bit of a go at Jose Mourinho on the sideline as well, which we've seen quite a bit from him against managers that have won a whole lot more than him. So it was nice to get him back in his place. Orby Sporting TV saying we need a centre forward even if we don't get a centre back. Will saying, Fabrizio said on his podcast Skriniar deal has to get done before the weekend, so Inter have time to get a replacement. I didn't see that part of what he did have to say, but look, there's no surprise in that. As I said, Inter Milan having already sold Diego Godin to Cagliari, they do need a replacement. And Nikola Milenkovic, the player they targeted or they identified very early on, could potentially be on his way to West Ham. So we'll have to wait and see how that one develops. Jake saying, if Gaza stays, you think that means loans for Whiteman and Austin? I don't know, because it's not been something we've seen very often in the last couple of seasons from Tottenham in terms of loaning out these younger players. I think Luke Amos was one that was really identified as a player that wanted to be loaned out, and he's since been sold permanently to QPR. I know Jack Rolls was at Cambridge last season as well as one or two more, but we haven't seen any keepers loaned out in recent times, and I'm not sure whether Gazaniga stays or goes. I don't think there's a place in the first team for Whiteman and Austin, but of course playing with the under 18 teams and the Premier League 2 teams as well, I think there's a lot of first team football for them, or there's a lot of football for them at Tottenham, just not at that top level just yet. Jack saying leaving it very late to sell players. Michael saying Ali is the new Drinkwater, we need to sell him before he's worth nothing. Diego saying I think we'll get Milik on Saturday before Skriniar on Monday. And look, if we get them both last minute on Monday, I wouldn't care at this stage. I really just want to get both of them in there, so we'll have to wait and see how those ones develop. Alex saying Skriniar will not go to Tottenham. It makes no sense at all, and it makes a whole lot of sense, and it's a move that Skriniar does want. He's told Tottenham he wants to join them. There'll be absolutely no problem with personal terms. They're very close to being completed, and I think even if we're going to ignore what journalists have said and try and look at the facts, the fact that Inter Milan did offer him in a swap deal for Tanguy and Ndombele early this summer, I think straight away suggests that it is a move Skriniar wants, because they wouldn't do that if they weren't convinced the player would go along with that. Miss Bolt asking how much did we sign Sanchez for? I think that was 38 million rising to 42, something like that. It was of course a club record deal at the time. Jack saying to really compete at the top level we will need a quality striker and centre back. I absolutely agree with you there. I think if we get the two of them in, assuming we get say Skriniar and Milik or Skriniar and Belotti, I think we're right up there in that top four, and we really are competing for silverware this season. Ronnie saying any chance of signing Dybala? Is he part of Pirlo's plan? I can't see us getting Dybala, to be honest. I'm not too sure about what Pirlo has in store for his season at Juventus, but I wouldn't say there's any hope of us bringing in Paulo Dybala this summer. To Board Gamer asking what you think of the Dyer handball. I think it was an absolute joke. Thiago, we are a club who are heading in the right direction, plus Conte doesn't rate Skriniar in his style of play. Porav asking what is the latest on Kim Min-jae, and there's nothing there, to be honest. It looks like it's going to be Skriniar or Antonio Rudiger this summer. I don't think there's any chances of Kim Min-jae signing. Will saying if Skriniar is brought in, maybe Tanganga goes on loan to play every week, and I wouldn't say so, because we do need, if we're bringing players in at this stage, I know Skriniar obviously is probably going to be a starting centre back for us, and he really improves our starting 11, but I think we do need to add to that squad depth as well. And Tanganga is a player who, look, I know he was very poor last night against Chelsea, especially in that first half, but it's been a while since he's played. He's been out injured for a bit. I think we need to keep all of our choices, all of our players who can play first team football. We need to keep them there now, and have those options that we can. Thank you very much, Les and Ponsa, for subscribing. I do appreciate it. Michael asking, is Jack Clark going to be loaned? Haven't heard much on him. All we've really heard about Jack Clark in this window came from Birmingham Live a couple of weeks ago, when they said Birmingham were set to sign Jack Clark on loan, and there's been nothing on that really. I saw a post on Twitter, I think it was while I was live, and I haven't seen anything on that at all. I suppose here from the 18th of September from Birmingham Live saying Jack Clark to Birmingham City. Transfer is almost definite, which, look, that's 12 days ago now. We haven't heard much about it. It could develop in the last couple of days of the window, but at the moment, I think Clark could be playing with that Premier League 2 team for the season. Delhi is a liability. He needs to go. Crimson saying striker is more important than a defender. Vignesh saying, how about Josh King? I think Josh King is an option at the moment, but I think he's only an option if we don't bring in a better striker by 11 o'clock on Monday night. We will probably see us pursue him in the 10 days after that, when of course there is a smaller window where EFL teams can trade with Premier League teams. So I think he's a absolute last resort signing. Bradley saying, do you think we should make Josh King our first choice striker to buy as he has Premier League experience? As I just said there, I don't think so. I think we do need to look for... I know he has Premier League experience, which can be very important, but I think the fact that there are players out there like Milik and Balati who play at a higher level, who play for top teams in their own leagues, I think that could be more important. I'd be happier to see them come in, but as I said, if we don't, there's that 10 days after the main window closes where we can pursue someone like Josh King. Alex saying Skriniar deal will go down like the Dybala deal last summer. Inter is a better club than Tottenham. Why would he play Europa League when he will play Champions League with Inter? And I think it comes down to wanting to play in the best league in the world, in the Premier League. And as well, he didn't have much time in the Inter Milan team last season. Antonio Conte doesn't seem to favour him as a starting centre-back option. So game time and playing in the Premier League, I think, could be the main thing that sways Skriniar in our way. And also, it does seem as though he does want that move to happen. Ashton saying you've potential to be a Sky Sports reporter or representer. Thank you very much, Ashton. I do appreciate that. Miss Bull saying thoughts on Sissoko's limited game time at the moment. I think that's purely down to the sheer numbers we have in that midfield. There are so many options and players who offer very, very different things. So I think Sissoko, it would surprise me if he wasn't in Mourinho's kind of short-term plans, but I wouldn't read too much into that. Darren saying, if you had the choice of one more player coming in, would you sign a striker or a central defender? It'd be a striker without a shadow of a doubt. We'd be in too bad a position if Harry Kane got injured. I think we just need to... It's been too long since we've had one. I think that striker could be the final piece of the jigsaw to get us to the level that we want to be at. So I'd definitely choose striker in that one. Poor saying, what is the status of our foreign quota and homegrown quota of players? Because surely we've reached the limit. I'm not too sure where exactly that stands at the moment, but I know we're very, very close to that edge. I'm not sure which way which side of the fence we're at, but we are very, very close on that bracket. Toxic saying Milan Skriniar will sign tomorrow and Milik will sign. Fingers crossed. I'd love that. Miss Bull saying, is Milik actually good? I haven't seen much of him. He wouldn't be a player who'd challenge Harry Kane to be our first choice, but he's definitely better than a backup striker. You know, if we're talking backups, it would probably be players at the level of Fernando Llorente, which I'd say more along the lines of Christian Benteke or Troy Deeney. So he is better than a backup option, but I wouldn't expect him to challenge Harry Kane for the first team place. Having a look at this, as I said, he scored 38 league goals in 93 appearances for Napoli. He scored 32 goals in 52 Eredivisie appearances for Ajax before that. He's clinical, and as you can see at the bottom there, his strengths are long shots, direct free kicks, holding onto the ball, finishing, and link-up play. So he is a very good option. A very, very good player. So I think he's better than what some people might be thinking, to be honest. Martin saying sell Sessegnon to partially finance a new striker and centre-back. That could be a good idea, but it looks like it's going to be a loan move, if anything, for Sessegnon this summer. Giovanni saying, I hope we get Giroud out of the blue, and to be honest, I can't see that happening. To Board Gamer, what do you think is the best Spurs centre-back partnership right now? And it depends on who we're playing. If we're playing, say a game on Sunday against Newcastle, I think Toby and Dyer are the best options there. But when we're coming up against the likes of Man City or Liverpool or Man United, who have a really pacey front line, and we're not going to be controlling the game, I think then Sanchez is a better option than Dyer, because he offers a bit more pace and can keep up with those opposition strikers a bit better. So it really depends on who we're playing. But either way, Toby Alderweireld is definitely in that. I think I've just lost my way there. Roddy saying, keep up the good work, Matt. Thank you very much. Any news on Ali? Why is he being so lazy in training? Still just some rumblings in the press that PSG are potentially looking to get him on loan, but from what Jose Mourinho said, he's been working very well in training in the last couple of days. I'm not, to be honest, I haven't a clue what's going on there with that. I think it's more than just the player's form, but I don't think it goes as far as him potentially leaving in the next couple of days. So it'll be really interesting to see how that one goes. Jack saying Spurs failing to get Skriniar at this stage will be embarrassing considering Hitchen's involvement and time spent in this transfer saga. Chelsea may well block any Rudiger move to Spurs. Eitan saying, do you think we'll be able to sign a striker? I 100% believe we will get a striker in before 11 o'clock on Monday evening. Bradley saying, Matt, do you think Bale, Son, Kane will be the best front three in Europe? I wouldn't say it'll be the best front three in Europe, but it'll certainly be some of the best there because Kane and Son absolutely clinical. We see the partnership they have between them, and then adding a four-time European champion in Gareth Bale to that. It's a very, very exciting prospect, but I wouldn't say it's the best in Europe just yet because you have to look at PSG. They have Mbappe, Neymar, whatever striker they want to put in there. I think City have a very good one as well with Aguero, Sterling, and again whoever they want to play off the other side. There's some very, very good ones that we need to compete with. So I wouldn't say it's the best in Europe just yet, but it is certainly up there. Broadsword playing finally with these two slots filled with the right players, we can absolutely make top four, maybe even challenge. And I agree with you. I think top four is a definite likelihood this season if we get those signings in. I just wouldn't say, I wouldn't go so far as to say we can challenge for the title just yet. Martin, welcome to the stream, saying I'm 99% sure the players bought after October 5th can't get registered for European competition, which would affect Josh King. Now, I didn't know about that, but it would be concerning if that is the case because I think, if we're in that European group stage, I'm just trying to look this up. If we're in that Europa League group stage, we're obviously going to be playing some teams that we wouldn't want to risk Harry Kane against, and I think bringing that striker could be crucial to that. So if it is the case that if players bought after October 5th can't get registered, I think that could really force our hand for a move earlier than we expected for Josh King if it does come down to that. We have here, can clubs register new players? This could potentially be maybe for the end of last season. Yeah, that's the end of last season's Europa League. I'll look into that and I'll get back to you on it, but thank you, Martin, for pointing that out. I didn't know about that at all. Saracen Knight saying we're finishing second this season. Eitan saying Vinicius or Milik. Milik for me. Paul saying any news on outgoing players like Rose or Foyth? Rose has gotten completely silent in the last couple of weeks, which is surprising because, to be honest, I thought we'd see him leave by now. We know he didn't have he hasn't been given a squad number for this season, so he's not going to be in our squad. I think we will probably see a move for him over the next couple of days, but where that's going to be, nobody knows. Foyth, interest from Fulham and Villarreal is as far as that goes at the moment. In terms of other potential departures, Ryan Sessegnon has been subject to an approach from Celtic, but financially that deal does not look viable. And that's about it at the moment in terms of news. But I think in terms of players that we could be expecting to leave, I think Gazaniga could potentially be on his way out, and a lot of fans expecting to see some developments on Dele Alli's future in the next couple of days as well. Darren saying, what are the odds we get both Skriniar and Milik done before deadline? To be honest, I'm 50-50 on that right now. I think I'd say 99% we'll get one of them, but 50-50 we get both of them. It seems to be on a knife edge at the moment, and a lot of it depends on whether or not we qualify for the Europa League group stage tomorrow night, which you'd have to assume that we will. And also I think some departures will go a long way in helping those get over the line. Steve, welcome to the stream. Miss Boat saying, thanks for the live stream, man. I'm going to head out now. Thank you very much for joining us for the half an hour. Richard saying, best transfer window I have known since becoming a fan in the 70s without a doubt, and it's been really exciting. It's been a lot better than any of us were expecting. It started out really slow. We made some very clever signings in Doherty and Højbjerg, but it's starting to heat up a bit now and starting to get a lot better. I keep losing my way in the chat here. Jack saying Levy must become more proactive in transfer market rather than reactive if he wants Spurs to be a top team. Crimson saying, what's your opinion on Roy Keane's statement about Eric Dyer's handball incident? Look, to be honest, I can see where he is coming from. I don't agree with him at all, but as per the rule, the hand being up there is a handball, but there's other little bits of the rule that kind of sway it in the other direction, so I can see where he's coming from, but I don't agree with him at all. Broadsword saying, leaving to last minute of deadline, as is Levy's style, is living dangerously. Like Dybala, they can fall through and then no time to find another, which is the very worrying thing. Steve saying, have we addressed Reguilon diving in to give Chelsea their goal last night? And we haven't, but look, it was in that first 20 minutes, say, that being the main event, it was a very worrying start for Reguilon, but I think the character he showed to get back from that and to be probably the best player on the pitch, getting an assist as well, it was concerning to see him start that way, but it just seemed to be a bit of like overzealousness, and he was a bit too hyped up really, and it caused that mistake, but he recovered very well. I think was one of the best players on the pitch. Peter saying, as always, top on point Spurs. News from Matt Hayes. When I think about it, you have a perfect TV pundit's name, mate. Great work as always. Thank you very much, Peter. I do appreciate that. Darren saying, oh, I've read that one already. Toxic saying, I believe it's Bellotti. That's why Torino have gone for Josh King. Transfer games, as you say, I think it is a bit more likely now than what it was. The fact that Torino are looking to bring in Josh King, but I personally still am leaning towards Milik in terms of who that player could be that Alistair Gold was talking about. But of course, there is potential that it could be Bellotti as well. Justin saying, I believe we are over the limit on foreign players and we'll have to loan or sell Foyth and Gazaniga, which is definitely a possibility. As I was saying, I know we're very, very close to that edge. I'm just not sure which way we're kind of leaning at the moment. Tom saying, I don't think Chelsea would block a move for Rudiger. They will probably buy his limo right over. Jack saying, we are on the verge of being a very strong team, able to challenge for top honours. A quality striker and centre-back will complete Mourinho's jigsaw. Make it happen, Levy. I absolutely agree with that. Justin Grierson, welcome along to the stream. Justin Mitchell saying, where will Dele go? Man United if they fail to land Sancho. I can't see him going to United at all. I think if he is going to leave, it would more than likely be for PSG on a loan deal. I think at the moment is the most likely one for him. Toxic as well saying, Torino going for Josh King. We will get Bellotti. Michael Smith saying, well done, Mark, for keeping us updated. I'm liking this channel. Deserves lots more views. Thank you very much for that, Michael. Justin Mitchell saying, Bellotti is class. Martin saying, if United bid 50 million for Dele, would you sell? I wouldn't, especially to a Premier League rival. I think if we are going to let him go, I think we're at that stage now where we can't afford to let our big players go to our own rivals, because they essentially are rivals now. They're teams that we are competing with rather than teams that we were trying to catch, as has been the case in the past. So I wouldn't sell him. I wouldn't sell him for 50 million, but especially not to Manchester United. David Moyes, yeah. Crimson saying, any updates about Weghorst? He's really trying his best to come to Premier League by following Spurs on Instagram and Twitter. And look, that's one that you'll always see it happen with these players following on Twitter or Instagram, whatever it is. I think there's one player that Højbjerg, I think, kind of gave away his move with liking some tweets and stuff before that, but I wouldn't read too much into Weghorst liking or following Spurs and Mourinho on Twitter. Crimson saying that. Satwick saying, what happened to Weghorst's deal? It never really was a deal in the first place. I think it was just, I'll check that now, Martin, thanks very much. It was just interest, really. I don't think there's any ever any bid made or anything like that. I think there are just better options that we did have. And just looking at this article here that Martin was talking about, again, thanks for this. He says, UEFA has advised that the 2020 summer transfer window should close no later than October 5th. The governing body has set October 6th as the deadline for player registrations for European competition next season, so is therefore recommending the window close the previous day. Their plans have now received the backing of European League's members, who represent more than 900 clubs in 32 professional football leagues, including the Premier League, English Football League, Bundesliga, La Liga, and the SPFL as well. So, concerning there, and again, thanks very much, Martin, for pointing this out. If it is Josh King, the striker, we're going to be bringing in after the main window closes, he probably won't be eligible for European competition unless we can get that deal done very quickly after or on the 6th of October. So concerning there on that one. So I think that's kind of, for me, leans me more towards the fact that we may see some development on this in the before the main window closes. Will saying, Spurs can challenge for the league. Don't see Liverpool dropping many points. Those 2 points dropped to Newcastle already look bad. It's going to be difficult to get the top 6, a lot of quality in the Premier League. And I agree with you in that we can challenge for the league, but I think top 4 is going to be a very realistic option for us this season, and I really do think we can. We'll get in there, especially if we get these 2 signings over the line. Now, I'm just going to turn on this light before it gets too dark. Yeah, that's better there. Mark is saying, it seems like we only have enough time or funds to sign one more player. Which would you choose, centre-back or striker? And as I would say, I think I would choose centre-back over striker, mainly because we just need backup for Kane. He can't play all of these games that we're being asked to play this season. Michael saying, if we do get Skriniar, who do you see playing alongside him? What's your thoughts on playing 3 at the back? I think in a 4 at the back, it would be Skriniar and Toby Alderweireld, which is a very, very good centre-back partnership. 3 at the back is definitely an option, and we're bringing in Sergio Reguilon and Matt Doherty. I think it is something we could be looking into doing this summer or this season. Ben Davies, a player who can of course sit in and play in that 3 centre backs if we do need that. Kelvin saying, thoughts on Ali playing as backup striker? I don't think it is an option. I don't think it's something that I would like to see, because his goals have really dried up in the last couple of seasons. So I think there is a place in this squad for him, but I think it's more as a deeper lying midfielder rather than being more advanced than he already is. So I wouldn't entertain the possibility of him being a backup striker. Tom saying, Matt, why do we seem to be unable to shift players? We just can't get them out. What's going on? Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. As I said, I'm surprised Danny Rose is still at the club. I'm surprised Carter Vickers is still here. I may even put Juan Foyth in that bracket as well. But I think we will see movement on those in the next couple of days. But I'm with you. I'm rather surprised that they are still here, and I'm surprised that we're not able to shift these players, unfortunately. Gazlero, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, saying great channel, thanks very much. Skriniar in tomorrow for medical and Milik to sign on Friday. Diego Costa also linked to make a final day move. I think as far as Skriniar for medical tomorrow goes, he is currently, as we speak, playing for Inter Milan against Benevento in the Serie A, so I wouldn't be too sure about a medical tomorrow. And actually, no, sorry, to be honest, that game is over. Inter Milan winning 5-2 in that one, so that game is over. Look, it's a possibility. We can't rule that out just yet. We know Ruben Diaz played for Man City just a day, or for Benfica just a day before he signed for Man City, so it is possible. But I wouldn't be too optimistic that he will be in for a medical tomorrow. Crimson saying, is Vegas like a backup plan? Just like what happened with Dybala transfer, it failed, and we bought the backup option in the form of Giovanni Lo Celso. Look, he could be a backup option. As I said, it could also be Josh King. We could also be in a situation where we don't have a backup option because we really, really want to get our first target over the line, which for me would be better than having a backup option. It would be great if we are actually going all out to get those first options. But Vegas, like I said, it always seems to have just been interest, and it's never really developed more than that. But he could potentially be there as a backup plan. Loves Music saying could be Diego Costa. Highly unlikely. I don't think he'd be a player, A, who'd be willing to join Tottenham, or B, who Tottenham would be willing to sign. Ronnie David saying, why didn't we go for Luis Suarez, 5.5 million? Very similar thing, to be honest. I think they're players who've been very problematic and troublesome, and ones that Tottenham fans have hated in the past. So I wouldn't be too optimistic, or I wouldn't entertain the possibility of the two of them coming in either. Jackson saying, think we should sell Aurier and use Foyth as right back, considering he plays there for Argentina. Look, it's an option, it's a possibility. I think if we are going to sell one of Aurier or Foyth, we get a lot more money for Aurier, but he's also a better option for us as a backup right back. So there we go. Is that all right there? Yeah. His performances have been a lot better in the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks since Doherty came in. The fact that he has competition there, he has improved. Manisit still, thank you very much for subscribing. But Aurier, his performances have improved, so I'd be less wanting us to get him out now than I was at the start of the season. But while we will get more money for him, I think Foyth just needs to be shipped on at this stage. There's no chance for him in this club, unfortunately. Toxic saying Ericsson still not getting time. Sufia saying Jovic is a player we should sign. Yapul saying how close is Skriniar. It's not too close. I think personal terms should be fine. Personal terms may actually be agreed already. It's just getting this deal done with Inter Milan. I think once we do get that agreed fee with Inter Milan, I think it'll be very short before we actually get the deal announced. We'll be very, very close to getting that done once we get that deal agreed. Toxic saying get Skriniar in for Man U game. He's fit and just played now. I don't think. What day is today? Today's Wednesday. We'd have to sign him, I think, before midday on Friday, if he wanted to play in that Man United game. But as well, I don't think we could throw him straight into the mix. But look, we'll have to wait and see. Will saying Costa wants to play Champions League football. Diego saying think we can win Carabao and Europa if we sign these players. I definitely do. I 100% do think we can win trophies this season. I think Carabao Cup, Europa League, and top four. I'm not saying I'm not going to sit here and expect it. I'm not going to demand it, but it is certainly a possibility. And I think this is the closest we've been to in a while to winning some trophies. Big Nash saying, do you think Mourinho will continue with back three for the whole season? Toby Dyer and Sanchez. I'm not too sure. Rinku, thank you very much for subscribing. I do think it'll be we'll see chopping and changing between a back three and a back four, which again just depends on what team we're playing. So it's great that we do have the options in there now to be a bit versatile and to play different systems depending on the teams that we do come up against. And I just want to remind you again, we've nearly 200 people here in the live stream. If you are new to the channel and you want more Transfer Talk live streams, Transfer Talk videos, and general Tottenham analysis videos, and as you can see at the top of the screen, giveaways, collaborations, and a charity stream coming up as well, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And this is just one of the things we'll be giving away in our giveaways. The Gareth Bale match programme from our game against Newcastle on Sunday. We have 3 of those to give away next Monday. And we'll have a few more things as well. GT Master, thank you for subscribing. We'll have a few more things to give away next Monday as well. Crimson saying we can win Carabao Cup and Europa League. We can win both. I definitely agree with you. Wilson, keep Aurier. GT Master saying I think Skriniar will be announced on Friday or sometime during the weekend, considering we get a 15 million bonus for winning tomorrow's game. As I said, €50 million for qualifying for the Europa League group stage. If we can beat Maccabi Haifa tomorrow night, which will go a very, very long way in getting these transfer targets over the line. Toxic saying, what about Mandzukic? I, to be honest, haven't heard anything in the media about him. While I think he will be a good player to bring in, it's not one that I think will happen. Steve saying, I heard they still owe us money for Ericsson, which is the sticking point, so potentially that could be holding up this deal for Milan Skriniar. And Sad1234, thank you very much for subscribing. Lost Galaxy asking about Cavani. I think that's very similar to the Mario Mandzukic situation. It's an option, but it's not one that we've seen in the media and not one that I would expect to get over the line. And lastly, Matt Liff saying, past 3k subs, good work, match coverage has been spot on. Thank you very much for that, Matt. And thank you very much to everyone who has joined us tonight. I was going to run through it one more time. If you are new to the channel and you want more Transfer Talk live streams, videos, and general Tottenham analysis videos, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have enjoyed the stream, as Michael is saying, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Michael saying, really enjoy your live streams. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is one of the few things we'll be giving away in next Monday. Gareth Bale match programme from our draw. What should have been a victory against Newcastle on Sunday. Thank you very much for everyone who has joined. My next live stream hopefully will be tomorrow night. Failing that, it will be next Monday for deadline day. We'll be going all day long, raising money for a very, very good cause on that day as well. So make sure you stick around for that and smash that subscribe button if you want more of that. So hopefully we'll have some good news in the next couple of days with regards to Tottenham's transfer